Hi everyone, I'm Nadia, and in today's video I'm making a set of resin beach coasters. I'm using Deppon's Coaster Cast resin, which is a 2:1 ratio by weight. So I have my small kitchen scale here, and first I'm measuring my part A resin and then my part B. And you can use my code SUMMERGIRL to save 10% on Deppon's website. I do want to apologize for my voice. I've been quite congested, so if you regularly watch my videos and realize that my voice sounds off or weird, that is why. But I also wanted to mention that I'm very excited about a new feature that is on my YouTube channel, and that is the super thanks. You should be able to see it just right below this video near the thumbs up and thumbs down button. And basically what this is a way to help support me and my channel by giving a super thanks. Of course, don't feel like you are obligated to do anything, but it would be very much appreciated if you'd like to help out my channel and help me to be able to continue to create free content. Once I've poured each part, I mix my resin for several minutes until it's clear and there's no visible streaks. Then I separate it into smaller cups to add in my pigments. And I have a separate cup where I'm adding some small rocks and pebbles that I've collected from a beach. And I start by pouring that at the very bottom of the mold. And I use a torch gun to pop any air bubbles. Next, I'll be using Just Resin's pigment paste in the shade Sage, and it's in this small container because my mom had given me some from her jar of pigment paste, so just don't mind that. I mix it well before I add a small amount into my cup of resin. And this is such a beautiful shade, I'm obsessed with it. Just Resin has a bunch of beautiful pigment pastes that I love, and you can use my code SUMMERGIRL to save 10% on their website. I'll leave links in the description. And I poured a little bit into my second cup of resin, where I'll also be adding in Pebio's transparent pigment in the shade Emerald. And I just keep on adding some of the transparent pigment until I'm happy with the shade. For my last shade of blue, I'll be using Deppon's pigment in the shade Bora Bora. And I've set some seashells that I've collected aside to use later. Now I'm ready to start pouring, and I start with my darkest shade of blue at the very top of the mold, followed by my mixture of sage and emerald right below. And lastly, the sage pigmented resin at the bottom. And I use a wooden stick to help blend the three shades of blue together. Then I start adding in my seashells in the sand area. And if you notice that your blue pigmented resin is pulling too much in towards your sand, you can add clear resin over the sand, which will help to push the blue pigmented resin further away. And I poured my extra resin into a bookmark mold. And here I am the next day demolding. I used an X-Acto knife to help get rid of some of the lifted edges. And now I'm prepping my coasters for another layer, which I'll be doing out of the mold. So I'm pouring liquid latex on the bottom edges to protect the bottom side, and I use a silicone makeup brush to help spread the liquid latex all the way to the edges. And I mix together my part A and part B resin once more. After it's partially dried, after about half an hour to 45 minutes, I propped them up onto cups. And I did film this video a while ago and I propped them up onto these tiny cups, but I would actually recommend to prop them up onto cups with a wider base so that they're more stable and more leveled. And for my white pigment paste, which I'm going to be using for the waves, I always love to use Just Resin's pigment paste in the shade Titanium White. As always, I mix the pigment paste in the container first before adding a small amount into my cup. And I pour my clear resin onto my coasters, leaving the sand area without resin. And I carefully add the white pigmented resin along the shoreline, but because I am so clumsy, of course I managed to get some somehow onto this second coaster, but I just used my silicone makeup brush to help spread it out. And I used a heat gun to blow out the waves. I'll have links to supplies and products that you see in this video in my description below, so be sure to check that out if you're interested. And I continue to do that for all of the coasters. I have a video on my channel on how to achieve lacing. I'll leave it linked above. And I was also planning on filming a more in-depth tutorial as a very detailed step-to-step tutorial, either as a course or maybe on a different platform such as Patreon. Please let me know in the comments down below if you would be interested in such a tutorial. And I come back the next day once my second layer has hardened to add in my top coat. And when I'm top coating coasters, I love to use DuPont's Honey Resin. It's also a 2-to-1 ratio by weight. And while I'm top coating, I always prefer to re-pot the resin, so I mix it first in my cup for a few minutes, and then I pour it into a second cup to mix once again, just to be sure that every part of the resin was mixed well. Then I pour onto the coasters and again use my silicone makeup brush to help spread the resin to the edges. And here I am the next day removing the liquid latex. And with a gold edging marker, I added a gold trim. And here's the final product. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. Follow me on my Instagram, Summer Girl Designs, and my mom's Instagram, Wild Heart Resin Art.